this chat real quick. Hello. How's it going? Can everybody hear me? Can you see me? Can you hear the music? I decided to try to stream a little bit later, see if that brings in new people or, you know, gives maybe the people in the I don't know, out there in the Pacific or maybe even in like Asia or Australia an opportunity. I'm not exactly sure what time it is. I still might have the time wrong, but it's a different time, so I just figured it might bring in different people. Anyway, welcome to the stream. I don't really have anything planned, just chill. Can do Q&A if you guys want, or we can just relax and hang out for a little bit. You wanna know what the worst thing about Kevin Spacey is? I have an idea of what the worst thing about Kevin Spacey is. Yeah, I figured that I was try to add music to the streams, just to add to the feel, add to the ambiance. But I wasn't sure if it would work at first, because I don't want the music to echo in the mic, because there's a mic in front of me. But I think as long as the volume is not too high, then it won't echo, because this mic is not, as far as I know, this is not an omnidirectional mic, so the speakers are behind the mic, so it's less likely to pick it up. Whenever I want to introduce someone to political YouTube, you're my go-to recommendation. Well, I appreciate that. That's amazing. And also I wanted to find some music that was not copyright, that will not give me a copyright strike. So far, this little playlist I found has worked out, but you never know what could happen. In the past, I've had, like, you know, if they identify the music, they'll shut the stream down like in the middle of the stream, because it's happened to me before. The internet is a hellscape that just makes me angry with people half the time I go on it. I think you just need to go to different places on the internet. I think that there are definitely places on the internet that are a hellscape, but overall the internet's good. But there are some places that I dislike, like Twitter, for example. But even on Twitter, apparently there are, you know, pleasant communities on Twitter, from what I understand, but I think I've just dug myself too deep into the weird, depraved, like angry part of Twitter. He ruined A Bug's Life for me. Oh no. Always A Bug's Life. I don't think it's gonna be I don't think we can have a stream without A Bug's Life being mentioned. What mic am I using? It's Audio Technica, not the AT4040, but like the other one that's like kind of similar to that. I can't remember what it is. AT40 something something, but it's like basically the AT4040. Did you log into a different account? I'm a professional musician, make my living with it, and think they would leave streamers and YouTubers, or you think they should leave streamers and YouTube? Well, yeah, the problem is, I think probably most independent musicians agree with that, but the problem is these huge companies own everything. Is he hired you? What's up, Isabella? See, I am seeing some different names since I'm streaming at a different time. That's always been kind of the problem with streaming. If you stream at a certain time or a certain day, you just automatically, you know, there's just people that just automatically never can catch a stream because it doesn't work with their schedule. Obviously, there's no way that I can just make my schedule work for every single person, but I would like to at least every now and then give other people an opportunity to watch the stream. What's up, Alfredo? I would never be so crass. Crass. That's probably how you said it. Your voice is so calming. Currently on the newborn baby feeding shift, so a bit of calm is much needed. Well, I'm glad that that's working for you. Friend Ben, yeah, I think you have mentioned him, or maybe, I don't know if I've talked to him on Discord or something. Good day from the UK, good day to you. Has my opinion on Sam Harris changed even further? Probably not, because I haven't really engaged with any Sam Harris content that much since then. Whoops. Whenever I open my phone, it's always on this game. Been watching your videos for years now. Been a constant good spot in my life. I appreciate that. It's always interesting the people that have been watching for many years, because the channel has definitely sort of evolved in many ways over the years. But I mean, it's still me, so I guess. But you know, y'all let me know if the stream messes up or anything, because YouTube is telling me that my video settings are bad. Actually, they probably are, because I just got a new computer. Well, I mean, I did, and I'm still like setting everything up because I'm running from a different hard drive, but I'm still kind of using the old hard drive to store files, and I'm still like figuring out what files I need to move over, and it's just it's kind of weird. But as long as the stream looks good, that's fine, because a lot of times YouTube will tell me my video settings are bad, but then it doesn't really do anything. Been watching me for more than 5 years. Yeah, sounds about right. I definitely remember you from at least a few years ago. It's actually Clash Royale, not Clash of Clans, but it's close enough. Am I into 40K? You mean Warhammer? I never played Warhammer. I was fairly sure that it was a one-way, because I mean, it wouldn't make sense for it to be like a omnidirectional mic. That's not really what it's for. Do I listen to any podcasts? Not really. Every now and then I will catch something, but I don't really I'm pretty much just not really up on the podcast game at all. There's never really a good time for me. Like, I feel like if I was in my car more, I would listen to podcasts. But I'm just on my PC all the time. I guess you could listen to podcasts on your PC, but I'm always just too distracted by other things. Like I'd rather like play a game or watch a video or something. Sometimes there are video versions of podcasts that I watch every now and then, like I've been watching Philip DeFranco's podcast, which is pretty cool, and I watched every now and then I watch Bobby Lee's podcast and Tom Segura podcast. A lot of those comedian types have funny podcasts. But yeah, I don't really keep up like religiously with any of them. When do I watch YouTube? Like all day? Bro, I once opened my phone, it was on Clash Royale during a class and it was on full volume. Yeah, the intro is pretty loud. There's just like so much stuff on YouTube. I just rather would watch YouTube most of the time than listen to a podcast. Not because YouTube is better, but just like I'm already like invested in so many things. Am I still playing D&D? Yep. There's actually I think there's some of my friends are playing right now, and I am presumably invited to play, but I don't for one, like I'm trying to stream on Mondays right now, so Mondays is not the greatest day. And also it's like they've started meeting up in person again, and I'm still a little bit hesitant on how much I want to do that. Like I have my main game on Saturday, and we do that in person again, but that's like kind of the only thing that I do that involves being around people. And I don't want to like push my luck on that, so I'm a little hesitant. Hello, new sub. Curious what your take on intersectionality and critical race theory is, And has it brought us here with Black Lives Matter? I don't think I know what critical race theory is. Well, I'm probably familiar with the concept, but I don't recognize the term. Intersectionality, I feel like, is a pretty, I don't really understand. It's like, what is your take on intersectionality? Like, it's good. It's kind of the way that we should be looking at social justice issues. I feel like that's pretty obvious to anyone who's paying attention. And I do think that Black Lives Matter is definitely intertwined with intersectional theory. That's one of the big things about Black Lives Matter, and I'm glad that Black Lives Matter is intersectional, because I think a lot of racial movements and a lot of gender movements and so on are often not intersectional. Miss Pat's podcast is hilarious. I bet it is. She's pretty funny. A lot of podcasts upload their content to YouTube. Yeah, and I just mentioned a couple that I occasionally watch. Thanks for all you do. I'm an ex-Jehovah's Witness and was taught nothing about how to navigate the social world or how to navigate sex and relationships. And your videos have been extremely helpful. Thank you. Appreciate that. I've seen that a lot of former anti-SJWs like Shu, TJ, and Nate Talks to You are in the middle of a turnover of their content. Nah, I haven't really kept up with them. People have mentioned things like that. I actually did watch an Amazing Atheist video recently, and it seemed like a normal Amazing Atheist video, but it was definitely in favor of Black Lives Matter, or it was in favor of this movement that's happening right now, which I guess he probably would not have done like 3 years ago. So I guess that counts. And people always talk about Shoe on Head and how she's like changed her position on a lot of things. So I mean, that's cool, I guess. But I haven't watched any of her content. I don't know that I ever watched. I don't think I ever watched Nate Talks to You, even back then. I didn't really appreciate intersectionality until I saw Moonlight and how all these different personal qualities inform how people treat it. Yeah, I never saw Moonlight, but I've heard a lot about it. It just seems like if you're not intersectional with your activism, then you're being exclusive or exclusionary, and it seems like you have to understand that that's bad. What's up, Osama bin Diesel? It's an interesting name. Class reductionism is getting popular right now. It's kind of dumb. I agree, it's kind of dumb. Yeah, this is. I mean, I feel like I complain about sort of this rise of dirtbag leftism on social media like all the time, but It's not even just dirtbag leftism, it's just sort of like this class reductionist leftism. Are there other movies you could recommend to learn about other social or political aspects? I mean, it's hard to say like learning, but there's definitely movies that comment on these kinds of things. I don't know if they're like specifically educational. Like Get Out, for example, is a great example. But I mean, I watch a decent amount of movies, but I watch movies less than the average person, which is something that I'd like to rectify, but never got around to it. You've been watching since 2011? That's wild. That's before my channel was even big. Like I feel like I got my first 10,000 subscribers in like 2012. Are there any aspects to the left that frustrate you? For me, it's the Kyle Kalinske types on foreign policy. For them, it's always just end the wars, as if it was that simple. Well, it kind of depends what you mean by the left. When it comes to foreign policy, I rarely speak about foreign policy because I do think it is way more complicated than people make it out to be. And I kind of hate this idea as a political, like as a public figure that talks about social and political issues. You're kind of expected to have a take on everything, even if you don't know what the hell you're talking about. And I try to avoid that. Like I'll speak in very general terms if I like have a basic understanding, but like when it comes to foreign policy, I don't know anything about how that works, so I generally don't comment on it. Well, I still say that's just me though in every video. But you know, like we were just talking about class reductionism. I don't know if you're talking about like the actual like socialist left, communist, anarchist, etc. left. But that's a big problem among that crowd, is the class reductionism, the idea that basically like if you fix class issues, then all of the other issues will just like magically be fixed as a result of that. The idea that you can kind of ignore racial issues, ignore gender issues, just focus on fixing the class issues, then everything else will work itself out. That's pretty annoying. I mean, it just kind of depends. I really hate associating specific ideas with a whole group of people. I'm sure there are trends, but you know, different people believe different things. Like I think the left is there's like a growing segment of the left that has like softened their views on gun control, for example. Adeptus Mechanicus, thank you for the $10. I don't know if, let me see if you left a message. I might turn on text to speech for tips so that people that tip actually get something, because like when you super chat you get like the cool colored message. So maybe when people actually tip rather than super chat, I might add something. I might add text to speech. This is as long as people don't abuse it. The machine cult is watching. I'm kidding. Hope you have a good day. Appreciate it. But yeah, there's like a growing segment of the left that is like, they're like more pro-gun, and I'm super anti-gun. I think guns are bad for the world, so that's bad to me. I think that the left is generally too soft on religion. So there's a few things. I'm sure I could think of more things. I check out a channel called Renegade Cut. Can give social political lenses to a film that you can enjoy it through. Yeah, there's a lot of great film analysis channel that talk about it through a political, well, not a lot, but there's a few that I've heard of. Well, I think that I think a lot of these conversations are it's just the wrong context. People always want to talk like, I don't know, no one just wants to have a conversation. People, like, I hate to compare leftists to like the reactionaries. Well, I don't even want to say reactionary because some leftists are reactionary, but like to the anti-SJWs basically. But they do a lot of the same things that I noticed. They really believe they're involved in this culture war that they have to win. So they're not really interested in having like civil discussions about what the best things to do are. They're trying to they're basically like, if you don't already agree with us, you're our enemy. That's that type of thing. And obviously this doesn't apply to everyone, hashtag not all, but it's just something that is growing on the internet. What's up, Kevin Logan? Do I think the move away from gun control is a bad thing? Yeah. I mean, I guess I clarified that already, but yeah. Yeah, answer the question. I mean, yeah, I'm kind of behind, I think. I don't disagree with class being pretty primary, but also feel like a long history. White screw-ups means seeking other leadership may be a good plan. I mean, the class is also part of intersectionality, I'd argue. But the idea that fixing class fixes the other problems somehow is just, I just think that's wrong. If someone personally wants to say, I would like to focus on class, that's the thing that I'm most passionate about, that's totally fine. But if you're trying to argue, like when, like, to be fair, this is like kind of a minority, but I have seen every now and then this whole like Black Lives Matter thing going on right now. I'll see posts every now and then of people that are like, well, you know, if we just fix their economic situation, then none of this will be happening. You know, that's a little bit of an oversimplification, but it's like kind of the idea. And, you know, you see that stuff a lot. Why don't I stream on Twitch? Because I have 150,000 subscribers on YouTube and everybody's already here. And in my experience, it's really hard to get people to change platforms. I mean, I guess I could try to start from scratch on Twitch, but I don't really want to. And honestly, I used to stream on Twitch more frequently. But I just feel like Twitch is like a different culture. Like Twitch is like, you know, you're expected to like stream every day for several hours every day. And I don't really feel like doing all that. Also, Twitch is mostly about gaming. Obviously, it's like branched out more, but it's mostly about gaming. And while I do enjoy games, I don't think that most people who care about me do so because of games. So I don't feel like that's like a good, I don't think it like necessarily fits the brand. Maybe, you know, in the future, if I get big enough to where even if like 0.5% of people switch over to Twitch, it'll still end up being a decent amount. Then maybe so. But I like streaming on YouTube. It's fine. It's like, I don't know. I mean, there's no reason. I don't really see a reason to change, really. And I'm intending to stream more on YouTube. Like, if I can stream more than once a week, that'd be great. But I have to just make sure I have the schedule for it. What do I make of Harris as VP pick? Kamala Harris? I mean, I don't know. That's fine. It's just, it's like, are there people that I would like more? Sure. But you know, whatever, I'll take it. Lake G, thank you for the £5. What do you think of the arguments that people like Coleman Hughes makes? What are the arguments that Coleman Hughes makes? Class is a construct by the ones who have. I don't necessarily agree with that. I mean, classes will exist as long as there's inequality of any kind, which is not necessarily a bad thing, but I don't think it's like created by people who have more. And not even just economic inequality, like any kind of inequality. I know you can't precisely separate these different types of oppression, but if you could fix one, wouldn't it be class? Yeah, but I mean, it's impractical hypothetical, so I don't even know if it's worth talking about. Tim Lash, thank you for the $10. The Patreon here. Did you see my in defense of the lesser evil email? I did see that. I guess I didn't respond to it yet. But yeah, I'll get around to it. I generally respond to every email. It might take a few days or a few weeks, but I'll get to it. But thank you for the super chat. Yeah, I'm you know, I have a decent following, but I'm unpopular enough to where I can usually get around to reading and responding to every email, but just give me some time. It sucks to be catcalled, but I think it's worse than wage slave. Yeah, but it is a bit disingenuous to boil sexism down to just being catcalled. But I mean, yeah, if I had to pick one, sure, I'd pick class. But that's just not how the world works, really. A class-only solution would leave striation among classes. Can you make an argument that ignoring class gets you close to what we have now? A meritocracy. I wouldn't argue for ignoring class. We subscribe for your hair. Stream your hair. Well, the hair's always there. When am I going to assemble and paint another model? I was actually thinking about doing that this time, but I want the stream to be variety. I don't want like every stream to be a painting stream. I actually have a big boy that I want to paint soon. This is like a kind of like a demon boy. I think I need to prime it though. I just like glued it together just now. Marsha, oh Marsha, what's up? Hi, T1J just got home from work and joined the stream. You should pick up a shift at my new bar every once in a while. Is your new bar open? Sorry, I haven't been keeping up with that. I knew that you told me about that. Thank you for the super chat though. All right, so I'm like super behind in the questions or whatever, so I'm just gonna go to the end and then you guys can re-ask your question if you like. Bernie or Buster suck, don't they? I don't know. I'd have to have a conversation with each of them to see what their reasoning is. I feel like if I would have spent a lot of effort on streaming on Twitch, that would just that would slow down my momentum on YouTube. Like I feel like I need to put most of my effort on YouTube because that's where most of my audience is. What are the arguments that Coleman Hughes and John McWhorter makes? Like, are you unable to verbalize the arguments? Yeah, I'm not in favor of like bailing out these huge corporations. Like in any case that I can think of, really. Who am I planning to vote these elections? I don't know. I'll give you the details soon. We'll be open the next week. Oh, cool. Well, we'll see. Is it gonna be like a late night place like Marty's? Is like open super late? Do I consider my channel to be more political or something more like casual talking? I don't really think. Well, you could probably describe it as political, but I feel like I don't talk about like politics that much. But I mean, I talk about social issues all the time, and if you consider social issues politics, which you would be fair to, then sure. But I would just describe my channel as just a dude making essays about stuff that he thinks is important or interesting, and it doesn't have to be political, and it often isn't. Yeah, I don't think I'll spoil what the next videos are gonna be, because I think that some people like the surprise. I have not seen Vouch's video about that, but I'll check it out, because I mean I've obviously done a lot of research about that sort of thing, but I'd be interested to see if he's offered more like resources to help me discuss that. Do I watch Adult Swim? I haven't watched Adult Swim in a while. But I really like the early days of Adult Swim. Like Home Movies was like, that was my shit. And I really like Aqua Teen Hunger Force. And there were just a few shows here and there that were good. A lot of it was just like, I don't know, it was just sort of that bizarre absurdist humor that I just don't really get. I have heard of Bow of the Fifth Column, but I don't know that much about it. Casual politics. I mean, I don't really know what that means. I mean, I guess so. I mean, I definitely my videos are not as intense and as like academic as some other video essayists. So if that's what you mean by casual, then maybe. Renegade Angel. Yeah, that's an example of a show that's like really absurdist and esoteric, and I have no idea what's going on or why it's supposed to be funny. The great thing about Bo is he doesn't necessarily come off as a lefty dude. Is pretty genuine. See, that sounds interesting. That's a good advertisement. At least for me, that's a good advertisement. I think the issue is leftist channels are usually made for leftists, and I'm not a leftist, so I don't identify with it, and I often find it like bizarre or condescending, which is fine because it's not for me. You know, if there's a video, if I watch if there's like a channel that's for teenagers, I'll usually find it bizarre and weird because it's not for me. But that's how I feel about a lot of leftist channels. But if this person makes videos that appeal to people who aren't leftists, then that's great. Lecture Love Main, thank you for the 333. It hasn't popped up for some reason, but what up, T1J? Who currently inspires me? Who currently inspires me? It's an interesting question. I would say that like the people I have like a rotation of inspiration. I'm like inspired by different things at different times. But I can't think of like what's the last person that really inspired me. I've been doing a lot of self-reflection. I don't know if it was necessarily inspired by another person though. Maybe like subconsciously. Bo is more about being pro a good person and believing in what is right and just. Well, that sounds like my type of person. I find your content approachable yet academic, but that's just me though. How would I describe my political position? I don't know. I really hate labeling. I know that sounds like really obnoxious and cliche, but like if I was like someone put a gun to my head and forced me to label myself, I would probably say social democrat. But I would much rather you ask my positions on specific specific topics, specific questions, because what I find is that people often assume certain things about how I might feel about certain topics just based on whatever label they have ascribed to me. You know, this is another thing that's annoying about leftists is once they sort of brand you, or again, like some of them, once they sort of brand you as a liberal, then they automatically like create this checklist in their head of the things that you believe, even though they've never asked you if you actually believe that. And I, you know, according to like the dictionary definition of a liberal, I'm a liberal, but a lot of these things that people think about liberals doesn't apply to me, so I don't know. Do I watch Destiny? I occasionally. Destiny is like really not hit or miss, but like there are some times I watch Destiny and I think that he's like just absolutely brilliant, and then there's other times where I watch him and I'm like, man, this dude's just like a fucking brat and an asshole. So it just really depends on what he's doing at the time. I would say like overall I probably like Destiny overall, but every now and then it's just like, okay bro, okay. Oh, King of the Hill is one of the greatest shows of all time for sure. Top 5, it's like in the top 5 of the greatest shows ever made. Does pineapple belong on pizza? I would never order pineapple on a pizza on purpose. But if someone gave me some pizza and it had pineapple on it, I would still eat it. I'm kind of like a pizza like minimalist. I'm not really into toppings. I think toppings are overrated. I'm not saying I don't want any toppings, but I don't really give a shit about all these topping combinations. Literally just give me a pepperoni pizza and I'm fine. Literally just put some bacon on it, I'm good. You know, I don't need to experiment with all these toppings. So that was the old super chat that you did. You just put in a new one though, $5, Electric Low Main. When you first learned race was a thing, I learned in first grade when a classmate told me she wouldn't play with me because I was black. I have no idea when I learned. I'm guessing that my parents sort of sat down and explained it to me when I was very young. We did. I was just talking to my mom recently and she was talking about how my brother realized he was black. Because my brother is like, well, he has lighter skin, and when he was very young, he had like really light skin, like possibly could have been confused for white. And apparently when he was really young, he like ran in crying one day because he had been out in the sun and his skin had sort of tanned, and he was crying because he was like, I'm black now. And my mom had to explain, it's like, no, you've always been black. Is the audio quiet? I can turn it up, but no one else has complained, so I'm not sure. Liberal is a very broad category. Well, I mean, most categories are broad. That's the thing. What do I think about Tom Nook? I don't know. He seems nice. He loans people money without interest, and you like kind of don't have to pay it back. It's pretty generous. I'm familiar with Kyle Kalinske. He complains about being strawman by lefties all the time, yet all he does is attack strawman of the left on Twitter. I don't know. The thing about it, I mean, I had to unfollow him on Twitter because his persona on Twitter is just like way, like, it's just out of control. It's like way different than how he is like in person. But when I talk about stuff a lot of times, it's like kind of exhausting because you have to be like, hashtag not all. Yeah, I don't mean 100% of people, but those leftists, I know those leftists that he's complaining about because I talk about them and I complain about them all the time myself. So I can't really criticize them for that because I kind of agree that those people exist. But you know, if he's talking about it in a way where he's saying, you know, 100% of leftists, which I doubt he is, because he seems to be smarter than that. But like I've actually, I think that my I've drawn, like on my YouTube channel and my Discord. By the way, I have a Discord server if anybody's into that. Just, there should be a link in the description, but just theonejanet.com/Discord, super chill. But anyway, I think I've attracted a lot of the more chill leftists, or at least when people interact, they're more chill. But when I get on Twitter, I see these like these fucking lunatics, and I understand why Destiny is mad at them. Dollarmore Daily, I've never heard of that one. What I think of Rick and Morty, I think it's brilliant. Some of the fan base is pretty annoying, but you can kind of say that for almost anything. I respect the choice to abstain from labeling, whether consciously or not. We all like to assume things about people who identify with certain labels. I still have to catch myself. Yeah, I think we all have to like catch ourselves. I mean, Twitter is a hellscape. I agree. I think Twitter's bad. But Twitter is also like one of the primary places, if not the primary place on the internet where our political discussions are being had, which is unfortunate. But a lot of times that is where we get our ideas of about what people, how people are feeling, what people are doing. And I do think it's exaggerated because, you know, if you go out into the real world, I think it's much different than Twitter. But, you know, have I heard of the WoW continent Gargleon? No. What is that? Is that something new? Gargle, oh, Gargleon. I see. I get it now. It's Ligma all over again. See, you got me because I'm actually like a WoW player, so I was like, man, is this some new fucking content? Marvel. He describes position of people that they don't hold, like calling every leftist a class reductionist. Well, again, if he's literally saying every single leftist is a class reductionist, and that's obviously wrong. I kind of suspect that he doesn't think that every single leftist is a class reductionist. But what I will say is a lot of leftists will say that they aren't class reductionists, but then when you talk to them for more than 5 minutes, it's very clear that they are. So that could be what he's talking about, because that's happened to me a lot. Most leftists will say that they're not class reductionists, but then when you watch their content or read their arguments, it is very clear that they are. I don't know. I don't want to like super defend Destiny, but what I'm trying to say is that I sympathize with him on his annoyance with leftists, because I've dealt with all these things before. Like even the things about reading books, leftists do that all the time, where they're like, well, you just, if you read this book, your whole position would be different, because you clearly have not thought about your own position that much. So all you had to do is read this one book, and then that your whole position will be different. And I get that all the time, as but yeah, I'm not really here to defend Destiny. I'm just saying I sympathize with it. And as a person who has watched a lot of Destiny and consumed a lot of Destiny content, I can usually identify when people are sort of like mischaracterizing him. Well, like I said, he's definitely an asshole, and he's definitely like condescending to people. And if he he does this thing where he kind of decides whether he thinks you're smart or not, and if he doesn't think you're smart, he just kind of refuses to respect you or be charitable to you or anything of that nature. Well, Nathan, we're gonna have to agree to disagree on that one for sure. Just join the Discord. Dope. Have I ever seen Star Trek? Yeah. If we're talking animated movies, DC is the king for sure. But in terms of just characters and stories and movies overall, I think Marvel is just way better. There are some really great DC books, DC graphic novels, DC comics for sure. I'm not saying it's all bad, but Marvel just is like way more consistent throughout history, I think. It's so weird because a lot of my right-leaning friends are class reductionists. It's interesting. I mean, I guess I could see that. Have any self-help books changed my life? The only one that I think could qualify as a self-help book that changed my life is The 4-Hour Chef by Tim Ferriss. And it changed my life insofar as it really it made me become obsessed with learning things, and it really completely changed my perspective on how to learn things. And it's something I still think about those things like all the time. But that's probably the only one that's like literally changed my life. I have not seen The Wolf of Wall Street. But yeah, I mean, if your argument is that Destiny is a condescending asshole often, then you got no arguments for me. But I think that he's sometimes a brilliant debater, and I think that a lot of the things he doesn't like publicly acknowledge it a lot, but I do think that he is an introspective person and that he has shown a lot of growth as a person over the years. Like if you compare him to how he was like 6 or 7 years ago, like it's like a very notable difference. But yeah, you won't get any arguments from me on that. What do you usually do on your weekdays? I don't know, it just depends. My weekdays are generally not too much different from my weekends, but just whatever I have to do, whether it's chores or if I need to work on a video, or if I need to stream, or I usually I kind of have basically like a to-do list every day, and sometimes it's pretty simple. It's just like, hey, you need to do your laundry and work out, and that's all you need to do. But sometimes it's like, okay, you need to work on first draft of your script. You need to make sure it, well, now I'm trying to stream every week, so it's like you need to stream. You need to fucking, you know, call the bank about something, you know, like things like that, little errands. I haven't watched much Voyager. I do think that Deep Space Nine is super underrated. No one ever talks about Deep Space Nine, but that shit's tight. But I have the most sort of nostalgic fondness for TNG, so probably TNG will always be my number one. It may not be like objectively the best, but it will always be my favorite of the ones I've seen. What are some instances where you cannot separate art from the artist? Well, I talk about it in my video about that, but probably the biggest example of that is R. Kelly for me. Because I just like cringe whenever I listen to R. Kelly now. I feel like I never hear anyone talking about Deep Space Nine. I feel like it always sort of takes a backseat to TNG. Well, I guess I don't know what you mean by a structured schedule, because to me that sounds pretty structured to have a to-do list every day. But I guess if you mean like you need to have your whole month planned out, I don't generally do that. Like if I have a deadline or something, I'll like put it on my calendar or something. But I just kind of wake up and look at my to-do list and see what I got to do. And I have certain things that I have planned for certain days. Like for example, Monday, I'm trying to stream on Mondays. I think I've done it for the past like three or 4 weeks. So I've been doing okay. Or like for example, Tuesday is I deep clean my kitchen on Tuesdays now. It's just that's on Tuesday. I exercise Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. So I already know that I have those things to do on those days. Some things I do every day, like, you know, like I floss every day, for example. I've been trying to practice Spanish every day. That's not like a super important chore, but I'm trying to make it part of my schedule. When it comes to like work, my work depends on not the day of the week, but the time of the month. So I'm gonna start releasing more content, so look out for that. By the way, I'm gonna start releasing more content, but prior to this, I put out one video a month. So basically my process was like, make sure you have an idea by the 5th of the month, make sure you have the script finished by like the 17th, and then make sure you have the video out by like the 21st or something like that. That was kind of the schedule. To be fair, I haven't even seen all of Deep Space Nine, but I do like what I've seen, and I like it. I probably like it just as much as TNG, but I just have so much fondness for TNG. I wish I flossed every day. Yeah, I actually only recently, maybe the past 6 months, started flossing. Picard has been on screen too much. I mean, I guess. Thank you for the 277 Electric Lomain. I'm out, T1J. You my hero. Holler at your boy. I appreciate it. I have a feeling that Electric Lomain is going to be the homie of the month every month. It's hard to compete with that. I mean, Picard is just very popular, and I mean, I think you're the first person I have ever seen say that they weren't into Picard, so. When I wake up, I get out of bed, start my morning workout, have a certain time of day to brush my teeth, shower, workouts. I mean, that's kind of what I do. Yeah, Cisco is definitely not as cool as Kirk or Picard. Also, Star Trek, the original series, is also really fucking good. Like it holds up surprisingly well, and for the most part. I didn't see Discovery at all, though. Picard is my surrogate father. I'll fight anyone who steps to him. It's also just because Patrick Stewart is so dope. But maybe the reason I think he's dope is because he was Picard. It was a chicken or egg situation. What are we talking about? Apparently we're talking about Star Trek right now. We were talking about like other stuff, but you know, the chat is fluid. We can talk about whatever you want to talk about. Just ask a question or bring it up in the chat. What's my favorite alcoholic drink? Whiskey? I didn't tell y'all, but I actually have some whiskey in here. Maybe you guys can tell. I don't think I really let off that I've been drinking most of the time, but maybe you can tell. I don't know. But I love how Josh just shows up randomly with some comment. It's funny though, because I never used to drink whiskey. I used to just drink shitty beer all the time, and I still drink shitty beer, but if I have a choice, I will always pick whiskey. But I used to be like just really like I couldn't really stomach liquor really. But I think hanging out with a bunch of professional drinkers like sort of helped me build my tolerance. Yeah, and even now, most of the time when I drink whiskey, I just pour a shit ton of Diet Coke over it. So, am I even really drinking whiskey? But actually, you know, like, you know, people take shots and stuff all the time, and I will sometimes participate. I don't really like taking shots that much, but sometimes you just got to do it. Need you to get some rum chata or Iris Slammers. I've had rum chata. Yeah, I used to never do shots, but now I'll do. Usually, like if people are doing shots of whiskey, I'll just do it like a half shot, just to participate. No, I haven't checked out Killing Floor. Yeah, Joshua was or is one of my bartenders, for those who are wondering. Also, he's a good bud. Can't mix whiskey with pop. It's probably not a good idea because I just feel like the combination of caffeine and alcohol is just bad. You probably shouldn't do that. But I do it all the time. Jameson and pineapple chilled. Maybe. I'm not a huge fan of Jameson. A lot of people like Jameson. I'm not a huge fan of it. Well, Michael, your problem was that you were drinking Fireball. Don't drink Fireball. This shit's disgusting. What kind of music do I listen to? I don't know. I like a lot of different types of stuff. Probably hip hop is my favorite genre, but I like a lot of different types of stuff. Thank you, Tim Lash, for the $10. Last book you read and favorite novel. The last book I read was... Well, the last book I read out of, I haven't finished it, but the last book I read out of is Harry Potter and the Prisoner of Azkaban, which I'm trying to finish that. I've been trying to finish that book for like 4 years. My favorite novel of the ones that I have read is probably 1984, but I haven't read that many novels. Usually if I'm reading a book, it's usually nonfiction, but honestly, these days I don't read that much. I should read more. I honestly feel myself getting stupider, and I think it's because I don't read as much as I need to. All right, Nathan, thanks for dropping by. Yeah, I can't deal with Fireball. It is not my jam at all. Has my appreciation of Harry Potter changed since the recent Rowling drama? I mean, it hasn't changed, but my appreciation of Harry Potter has been pretty lukewarm at best to begin with, so. Have I been playing any chess recently? Yes, I've been playing a lot of chess, actually. It is, once you finish Prisoner of Azkaban, it's easy to keep rolling through. Is that what you're saying? I don't know, man. The next book is big as fuck. What's the next one? What's the one after that? The one that's like super big? Or is it Azkaban that's really big? Yeah, and I'm down to stream chess. I'm not very good at chess, but I'll stream it. Yeah, isn't Goblet of Fire like super long? Like so far they've been pretty short. But I have it somewhere, and it's just like, wow, that's a thick book. Yeah, and then like they just get long after that, I guess. but I'll probably read them. For those that have been following for a while, you might know that I used to have a series where I mean, I guess I kind of reviewed. It was basically a reaction. It was like a reaction video to the Harry Potter books, but I kind of abandoned that series, and maybe I'll bring it back. I know I have probably said maybe I'll bring it back a dozen times, but I'm in sort of a mood where I want to make more content, so that might be some of the content that I make. Yeah, chess is exploding on Twitch, which is amazing. I've been following a lot of the chess stuff, like the recent PogChamps tournament. I don't know if any of y'all watched that. That was pretty entertaining. Hikaru Nakamura, like I follow him on Twitch and YouTube. Has a really cool stream. Yeah, I know just in terms of size of the physical book, it's pretty intimidating. The chess game in Harry Potter early edition supposedly make no sense. Well, I mean, I know there's like Wizard's chess. I guess I didn't pay attention to how it worked. I will say that I hate Quidditch. I think it's the stupidest game ever. It makes no sense whatsoever. How big is my shoe collection? Let's see, there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Some more over here. There's 12 pairs of shoes. And she got someone to fix it. Oh, and gave no credit to him. Damn. Oh yeah, couldn't you buy like a? Didn't they sell home versions of the Star Trek 3D chess or whatever? And it's hard for me to talk about Harry Potter because I'm speaking as a person who's only read like the first 2 books, like first 2.5 books. So whenever I say something, whenever I like complain about something, people are like, you just got to keep reading. It'll make sense later on. And it's like, okay, cool. Yeah, people play Quidditch in real life for sure. The golden snitch is literally a person like dressed up in gold that runs around and you have to catch him. Yeah, I like sneakers. I'm a fan. I don't know if anybody follows me on Instagram, but I just bought my first pair of Jordans. I'm pretty happy about that because Jordans are pretty expensive. So I was like, I don't think I'm ever doing that. But I found a good deal. Like this is like this. It's like the prettiest sneaker ever made. These are retro Jordan #1, the first ones ever made. They're like re-releases of the first one ever made, basically. Yeah, it is pretty hilarious. And also they actually ride around on brooms in real life. No joke. Of course, they can't fly, so they're just like prancing around on brooms. But you know, if people are having fun, you know, live your life. Listen, J.K. Rowling made these stories that captured people's hearts immediately. So people loved it regardless. Also, they're written for young people, and I only read them as adults. So, I kind of mentioned this before. Sometimes something is not made for you, so you don't completely understand it, or it's not written in a way that's meant for you to engage with it. So that's a big part of it as well. Am I ever gonna wear them? Yeah, I wore them yesterday. But it kind of sucks now because, at least to me, I have a lot of sneakers, but those Jordans are like way cooler than any of the other ones I have. I even bought these Pumas. These are Pumas that are like kind of designed to kind of replicate those Jordans, but you can see they're just not as cool. At least to me, they're not. Do I have a Twitch account? I do have a Twitch account, but I don't stream on Twitch pretty much at all anymore. I figure I can just stream on YouTube because you guys are all already here. I mean, the J.K. Rowling thing is just another art from artist thing. I don't think that you're required to stop liking or stop engaging with art just because it's made by a shitty person or a problematic person. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of that is just people joking and coping, where they say, like, there's a good tweet that was like, Harry Potter is I can't remember. It's funnier if you read it, but you probably seen it, where it's like, the Harry Potter series is this great fantasy novel, and no one knows who wrote it. Isn't that amazing? It's like, it's funny. It's a funny meme. Like I remember when Harry Potter came out, and I mean I just completely sort of missed it. Like I had some friends that were into it, but I just completely was like, okay, whatever. I don't know what's going on here. I'll just go play my PlayStation. Ever write any stories based around the original T1J character drawing? Write any stories? No? Which character drawing do you mean? Have I seen Neon Genesis Evangelion or Akira? Yeah, I've seen both of those things. I'm about to do a series about anime because those are the anime that people made me watch when I was younger, and I was like, A, these are super boring, and B, they kind of don't make sense. And people are like, anime's amazing. It's like, I don't get it. I don't get anime. Akira's alright, but it still suffers from similar things. Evangelion though, that shit is unwatchable. I don't understand how people watch that shit. It's so boring, and it makes no sense. I'm sure it makes sense, but they try really hard to make sure you don't understand what's going on. Oh, the janitor superhero. No, I don't. I never wrote any stories. I would just draw them. I wrote some stories about other characters that I made, but not the janitor one. Ghost in the Shell is pretty boring too. I mean, they're all boring. This is the thing about anime. Most growing up, all the anime that I watched growing up, most, let's say 90% of them are like very, very, very slow paced or unevenly paced, where there would be like a lot of like a quick bout of just like intense action and then like 20 minutes of nothing, or 20 minutes of exposition, or 20 minutes of esoteric confusing dialogue. And then overall they usually had these really confusing plot lines and these really, like, maybe I don't get the context, or maybe I had to have some prior knowledge of something in order to understand what's actually happening. Studio Ghibli is amazing though. I just feel like that's sort of transcended the anime category. It's like its own category. I have not seen Attack on Titan. What's up, Watch Jin? But you know, the more newer, like modern anime, I haven't seen pretty much any of it. This is all based on what I watched growing up. But I think it might make some good content for me to actually watch some newer animes and see if I feel the same about them. I have seen Yu Yu Hakusho. I haven't seen like all of it, but I've seen a bunch of it. It was on when it was on Cartoon Network. Anime is still crappy. Well, you know, the way people talk about it, they make it seem like you're missing something. But even if it's still crappy, it'll still make some good content probably. And there are some anime that I like I love Cowboy Bebop. I think that Cowboy Bebop was amazing. I got pretty into Naruto, but I feel like Naruto sort of jumped the shark after like 100 episodes, and it's like, I don't feel like watching this shit anymore. When I was a kid, you know, when I was like in middle school, I watched Dragon Ball Z just because it was cool for the kids to watch Dragon Ball Z, but I feel like that show is like unwatchable now. Samurai Champloo is pretty cool, but it was way too slow paced. It was like I'll just watch Cowboy Bebop again. Like Cowboy Bebop, I think had good pacing. But I feel like Samurai Champloo was too slow. I mean, slow pacing can be cool, I guess, if it's used for effect, but I just feel like most anime that I've seen is super slow paced. What was my favorite Simpsons episode? I don't know. That's too hard. There's too many. See, Fooly Cooly. I will say I watched Fooly Cooly and I was entertained by it, but Fooly Cooly suffers from the opposite problem in that it is very, very confusing, and I guess it probably makes sense, but it tries really hard to make sure you don't know what's going on. And I don't like not knowing what's going on even by the time I get to the end. Like, if it's confusing but then they wrap everything up and explain everything by the end, that's cool. But they don't tell you shit. Those are the two problems with anime. They either make no sense or they're too slow paced. And I feel like that applies to almost every anime I've ever seen. Which, to be fair, is not a lot because I stopped watching anime for those two reasons. So maybe things have gotten better. But I will say, I was entertained when I watched Fooly Cooly. Plus, it was very short. What is it, like 4 episodes? Like, if it was 20 episodes of that nonsense, I don't think I could have dealt with it. Also, it has probably the best theme of any anime I can think of. I haven't seen JoJo, but I know a lot of people like it. And you know, maybe it's just a personal thing. Like I talked about, like I don't have a problem with absurdism, but there's a level to where it becomes so absurd that it's like cringy and like annoying. And like we were talking about Adult Swim earlier, like a lot of those Adult Swim shows I hate because it's like I understand that you're being absurdist, but I don't find it funny. And in fact, I find it kind of obnoxious. I feel that way about a lot of Adult Swim shows, and I feel like maybe that's what a lot of anime is trying to do. Like, for example, Fooly Cooly, like a lot of it is like very absurd. There were funny parts, but it's like a lot of it is like, it's like I don't get it. I've been meaning to check out BoJack Horseman. I haven't seen it though. I'm late to the stream, and did you hear that Tina Fey asked to remove 4 episodes of 30 Rock featuring blackface? I did not hear that. I mean, I know exactly what episodes too, because I watched that show a lot, or I have watched it a lot. Yeah, Robot Chicken is pretty fine. I'm okay with it. I mean, yeah. I mean, that's fair. I'm just looking at an article about Tina Fey, but I made a whole video about Tina Fey and her like relationship with racial jokes and stuff. You guys can check that out if you want. It's actually one of my most popular videos ever, but yeah. I've seen like 2 episodes of Black Jesus. I think it was okay from what I remember. I think it's necessarily racist to put black paint on. I feel like it makes sense a lot of the time, especially when playing characters. Well, it's not really about is it racist? Like that's kind of not the question. It's sort of like it's like black people don't want to see it. That's really it, really. It's not really like if you put black paint on, does that mean in your heart of hearts that you hate black people? It's like, I don't know, probably not. But it's just an image that black people don't want to see. Really, that's kind of what it is. You know, probably similar, like I'm not Jewish or anything, but it's probably similar to a swastika for Jewish people or any kind of Nazi imagery. It's like, you know, there are probably contexts in which you could use those images, you know, for the purpose of whatever you're trying to do. But, you know, people like just don't want to see it. They find it offensive and hurtful. So it's best to maybe not do that. Yeah, it's like an update to the video. I mean, I get that. It's interesting, I guess. I mean, I get that aspect of it. But when I made the video, it like didn't even occur to me that she would even care about that, because she seems like very willing to exploit sort of racial things like that for jokes. So but a lot of people it seems like a lot of white people just completely don't understand blackface, or why it's offensive, or why people get so upset when they see it. Like, I actually have it in my notes that I want to make a video about blackface, because it seems like just people just don't get it at all. I think Tropic Thunder made fun of blackface. Yeah, I mean, I don't have a, like, I don't know, I can only speak for myself, but I don't have a problem with satire. But I can understand why someone may not want to see that. Like, I didn't specifically have a huge problem with how it was in 30 Rock, because it was obviously satire. But I think what people are starting to realize is, like, we're just kind of needlessly causing people pain. And, you know, when you're an artist, you have to decide, okay, what I'm doing might cause people pain, but it might be worth it for the overall message I'm trying to send. And that's just kind of that's what you have to think about when you're an artist of any kind, or an entertainer. And I guess people are increasingly deciding that it's not really worth it. And there are probably other ways to give off the same message while causing less hurt. And I don't know who's the first one to say it, but, like, I generally agree with the idea that if you can do the thing that you're doing and minimize the hurt that you're causing while doing it, then you should do that. You might as well do it. I don't think there's some cosmic order in the sky that says you have to do it, but I personally think you should probably do it. It's probably the compassionate choice. But, like, you know, most black people I know loved Tropic Thunder, you know. I think probably I know a lot of black people that love 30 Rock. So, you know, different people have different views on different things. I don't think that I feel offended is not good criticism, but I do think as individuals, if you're out here offending people knowingly when you don't have to, then I still feel okay in calling you an asshole. But if you're okay with that, with me calling you an asshole, then you can continue doing what you're doing, and then I can't stop you, and I have no desire to stop you. But I can still have the opinion that it's not a good look. Like, I've talked about this a lot. I have no intention of trying to censor people or tell people they're not allowed to say stuff, but I do think that people shouldn't be assholes, and people shouldn't go People should do their best to treat other people with compassion. And when people fail to do that, I think that it's our right to condemn them. And then what they do after that, that's their choice. What I hate is when people get mad when we condemn them. That's the part that's annoying. It's like, hey, you're being offensive. Like, you can't get mad at people for being offended when you're being offensive. Like, that's silly. It literally makes no sense. But if you understand that people are offended and you've looked within yourself and decided that it's worth it for you to continue doing what you're doing, then I can't, what can we say to you after that? Carry on. But you are right. There are some people that will say, this offends me, therefore it shouldn't exist. And I don't agree with that. I don't think I have ever expressed that opinion. I don't like that kind of attitude. People are like, I'm gonna try to get this guy fired because he said something that offends me. Like, I don't like that at all. I never have agreed with that. The beauty of sort of art and entertainment is, if you don't like it, you can literally not watch it. You can turn it off. You can tune into something else. I think that sometimes what people value is representative in the art, but I also think that sometimes people interact with things that are satire or things that are jokes in the wrong way, as in taking them literally, which that's not how you're supposed to interact with jokes. Like the idea of Tropic Thunder. If you see that movie and you think that the people who made that movie think that blackface is cool or okay, then I think that you are misinterpreting the movie. You're interacting with the satire incorrectly. You can make an argument that even though it is satire, it's still the hurt that it causes is not worth the message, like I said before. But you can make that argument, but you have to understand that people can disagree with you, and that's just how it is. How would I put my own personal threshold on being offended? I've seen some pretty good jokes about pretty sensitive topics. I think it's cathartic. I don't think that I think it's really hard to actually offend me. The only time I get offended if someone is like personally condescending to me or personally attacking me, which obviously is never the case when I'm like watching like a movie or a TV show or something. And the only other time is if something is like just obviously mean-spirited. Like sometimes people joke around and the joke is kind of like edgy or like offensive or whatever, but it's like clearly all in good fun. I don't really care about that. But I also think that sometimes it's like obviously mean-spirited. It's like, yeah, you're actually being a dick right now. And that, I don't really like that. I don't know if I would say it offends me. I mean, I guess that's technically what it is. So yeah. Was recently kicked out of parliament for calling out racial injustice in the system that our Conservative Party reinforces. That sucks. I think the thing that a lot of media people need to understand also is what is offensive, what is like offensive is kind of dictated by whoever, you know, by privileged voices. Because, you know, back in the day, like you saying, in the 70s, 80s, people could make all kinds of jokes. They can make you know, make all kinds of racist jokes, all kinds of homophobic jokes, all kinds of sexist jokes, and you're just saying that it doesn't fly as much as it used to. Audiences aren't as receptive to it, and it's not because they used to not be offensive. It's because in those days the people who would be offended by it just had a smaller voice. And these days, those people have more of an opportunity to speak up and be like, "Hey, actually, a poo is kind of offensive. It's kind of an offensive stereotype. We never were really that okay with it, but you know, no one was listening to us before." And this, you know, that's just an example. There are like Indian people that love Apu and think he's fine. But there are also a lot that were like, this dude has been the bane of my existence since I was a kid. Simpsons is chock full of offensive stereotypes. I mean, okay. I don't. People say that a lot. It's like, but they you know, they have all kinds of offensive stuff on there. It's like, is that better? I think with a lot of these characters, sometimes you're just happy to see some kind of representation, even if it is stereotypical or offensive. But over time, it's like, well, shit, that is the only representation we have, or like one of the only ones we have, and it's not great. And now people, when they see me, they see fucking Apu or Speedy Gonzalez. People shout "Arriba" at me when I walk through the mall, you know, shit like that. And people fucking did that. I mean, the kids at my high school used to make fun of the Latino kids by saying shit like that. I'm pretty sure I've seen a kid literally do a Speedy Gonzalez impression. But you know, it's all complicated, and I think it's all based on different contexts, depending on what context it is. I never want to oversimplify any of these things, especially when we're talking about groups of people, like human beings, because different people have different views on things. But we can see trends in terms of how people react to certain things. Like, not every black person gives a shit about blackface. In fact, I bet a lot of young black people really don't give much of a shit about it. But the trend, I think there's a pretty solid trend, is that black people don't want to see blackface. It's just a reinforcement of a racist history in America, and black folks don't like it. I think that's a pretty solid trend. I think we could all probably agree with that. Even if 100% of black people may not feel that way, I think the trend is still significant enough that I understand why Tina Fey might want to pull those episodes. But I would never personally campaign for Tina Fey to pull those episodes. She made her art, and if she was satisfied with that, then there's nothing I can say about that. All we could do is talk about it and decide how we feel about it. But I don't think she's required to get rid of it, and I don't think we have the right to make her get rid of it. But I think the fact she decided on her own to pull it, I think that's probably good overall. I'm gonna go use the bathroom. I've been streaming for 2 hours, but there's a lot of people still here, so I'll probably stream for a little bit longer. But I'm gonna go use the bathroom real quick and maybe get another drink. Hey. Hello again. I think that a lot of people think that they aren't racist. This is something that I've realized, especially in my interactions online. Like, some of the most progressive people, or the most self-proclaimed progressive people, still just have no idea about what's going on in the world, and still have sort of like no understanding of systemic discrimination or microaggressions, or just like anything really. I don't think like it's not enough to I don't know, you have to basically step out of your comfort zone and really like look into these things. If you aren't like, if you are looking on the outside looking in, I don't think you can just understand inherently. I don't think it's possible. And this is something that I learned myself as well. I had to learn about gender topics and feminism and LGBTQ stuff, trans issues. I don't think there was any way for me to inherently understand it. I had to go out of my way to learn about it and talk to people. I think that I feel like a lot of effort is, or a lot of energy is put into jokes and comedy, and it's like, is that really the biggest problem in the world? Andrew Kroll, thank you for the $2. Just because you rock, I appreciate that. I mean, I guess there's this idea that telling offensive jokes normalizes those ideas, which is maybe true, but I just feel like, I don't know. I feel like rather than complaining about that, you should do something to counter it. Like I going back to like when the anti-SJWs were basically running YouTube. Well, they weren't running YouTube, but they were running like the political side of YouTube. And I spent a lot of time like arguing with these people and talking about these people. And then I realized I'd rather just make the content that counters this rather than directly try to argue with these people. How about I just offer an alternative? That was kind of my idea back then. And I think that was a much better idea. Magic the Gathering censored some cards and even fired some problematic artists. Do you think this is a practical or effective gesture? Well, I mean, it depends on, I'm not super worried about censoring the art. But I'm very much in favor of sort of social consequences, including losing your job if you are using that platform and those resources that you get from that job in order to basically make the world a worse place. I'm super in favor of that. I don't think that I don't know, it depends. I mean, I don't talk to people condescendingly. I mean, I don't think you should make assumptions about anyone. But someone I don't think it's possible to understand the experiences of someone. Really, you can't understand the experiences of anyone that's not you. But you can certainly, like, you certainly cannot understand what it's like to be a black person if you're not black. You can get an idea of it and you can research it. But if someone hasn't like put any work into trying to understand it, then I feel fairly comfortable assuming that they don't understand it, because I don't think it's possible. But I guess you can't assume that a person has never looked into it. I mean, that wouldn't be a fair assumption. But I think people tell on themselves very quickly. Within the first, within the first few paragraphs, you can tell whether a person has actually like thought about these kinds of things in a very thoughtful way. And I do think that sometimes people use that as a crutch when they don't want to sort of argue. So like maybe someone will say something that might be a good point or at least something to think about, and then the response will be, well, basically an ad hominem, basically, well, you don't know what you're talking about because you're not black. Like at the very least you can engage the argument. Like there, like I'm really into data and facts. I think data and facts are the most objective way we can talk about any of these things. But it's hard to describe why anecdotes and lived experience matters to people who don't have the lived experience. Like when you hear about all this stuff that happens to black people and you are black, it is very intuitive. It's like, yeah, that's true. You don't have to look at the data. You can be like, yeah, yep. But that's not very convincing to people who don't have that lived experience. So it's hard to sort of communicate why lived experience matters. Luckily, the data and the facts usually backs you up on these things. But I think a lot of times people are like, well, you don't have the lived experience, so you can't even talk about this. And I definitely don't like that. I would never tell someone that they're not allowed to have an opinion or to talk about things. You just have to acknowledge the limitations of your background. And you have to be open to someone actually talking to you about things. You have to be open. Like if someone comes at you and wants and has some knowledge, you have to be open to it. I think that there is some level of shared humanity that honestly, like, it's almost a paradox, because I feel like if we appeal to each other as fellow human beings, it would be easier to understand a lot of these things. But I feel like we just don't really think about it in too deep of a way. Like, for example, I can understand, or I can start to understand what it's like for a trans person just by comparing it to what it's like for a black person. It's not the same, but I can begin to relate. And, you know, you might be like the most cis hetero straight able-bodied male there, but if you find a way to appeal to people in a human way, you can probably find a way to think about things. But there are just some times where you might just have to, you know, like, probably most black people, especially black men, have dealt with going into a store and having people like watch them to make sure they're not stealing and shit like that. I would wager that probably has happened to like 80% of black people, especially like young black people. And if that doesn't happen to you, it's hard for you to even relate to that. And you kind of just have to either like, you have to just decide to just believe that this stuff like that happens without really knowing what that's like. You know, you could, you know, set up a hidden camera or something and see it for yourself, but obviously most of the time that's not going to happen. So there are some things where you just have to be like, oh, that happens, and I don't experience it, and I don't have any data for it. I don't really have any evidence for it, but this has been communicated to me, and I choose to believe it. Same thing with like women, like catcalling or sexual assault. Like, you know, that's a pretty intense issue. But you know, like, fucking almost every woman you know has been either sexually abused, sexually harassed, or sexually assaulted. Like almost every single one. Like maybe of all those three things, maybe every single one. But if not, close to like 80, probably 80-90%. But that's really hard to relate to if you're not a woman. Like it does not sound true, but it's true. And you just have to choose to believe it. Like if you want to be an ally, you just have to choose to believe it, even though you pretty much have no way of confirming it. What's up, Seaweed Popcorn? So there is the level of, you know, serious logical debate, laying out the data and facts, but there's also a level of just being a decent human being and showing compassion to people when they are in a time of trauma and hurt and oppression. So there's like two levels to it. I think that we often forget about the human level of things. And that's one of the things that I try to talk about in my videos a lot. Like, I'm a very data-driven person, and hopefully that comes through in my videos as well. But I'm also a very big advocate of just like, you know, being a compassionate human to other humans. Have I done a video on the model minority myth? I have not. I don't necessarily know if I am the right person to make that video, but maybe. I once felt terrible when I worked at a store. It was policy not to allow anyone in unless they left their bag purse at the front. I was accused of racism. Yeah, well, I think it's just because a lot of those policies are rooted in racism. Like, we just had a scandal here in my town of Birmingham. There's like this restaurant. It's like a sort of restaurant. It's like a barcade. We'll just say it's a barcade, but it's not. But we'll just say that. But it's supposed to be like this like nice place that you can go in, and then there's like they have like skee ball or some shit. But anyway, they have a dress code, and any black person probably knows where I'm going with this, but they have a dress code. They want people to look nice when they're there. However, the dress code is like, it's like no jerseys, no sagging pants, you know, no oversized clothing, no oversized necklaces. You can see where I'm going with this. The dress code is specifically designed to target black people. So they hide it as, no, we just want people to look presentable and neat. But really what it is we don't want black people in here. And of course they would never admit that, but that's like basically what it is. And even if it's not conscious, like there's a very large chance that it's not, the manager is not consciously like, I hate black people, don't want them in my store. But what it is they subconsciously associate unprofessionalism, unrefined, not looking presentable with black people and black culture. But yeah, people, there was like a big scandal, and people like were dragging them on Facebook, and they had to take down the dress code, and like the owner apologized and all that. But those kinds of dress codes exist everywhere. Like, I don't know, like if any of y'all like go to clubs and stuff. I used to go to clubs. I'm kind of too old for it now, but I feel like every dance club, every nightclub I've been to has a similar dress code to that. Well, it's not even black money. I think they just associate that with, they think if they let people like that into their store, they're going to like steal from them or start a fight or be rowdy, you know, things like that. All right, Alfredo, thanks for dropping by as always. Why did someone ask if you know Ja Rule? I don't know. I mean, you can ask whatever you want. I do know Ja Rule though. Who doesn't? What's up, JMB? I'm doing pretty good. Trying to decide when I want to end the stream. I've been streaming for about 2 hours, and it is pretty late. Not that I'm going to bed soon, but I should not have enforced it. I got fired anyway, so I should have quit rather than try to enforce their dumb rules. I mean, no one can blame you for, you know, trying to follow the rules. I mean, I probably will stream for another 10 to 20 minutes. But if you're heading out, Yahweh, thanks for dropping by. Do I like Donald Glover? Yeah. Try to remember. Oh yeah, Bo the Fifth Column. I'll check it out. I'll go to the channel, which will let the YouTube algorithm know. Oh yeah, I've seen this guy's video. Oh, I've never seen it before, but I've seen like people sharing stuff. What do I think about feminist stand-up comedy? I don't think I have any specific opinions about that. I think anybody can make whatever kind of comedy they want. I think it can be helpful to frame privilege as not having to deal with issues, often to the degree that you can be totally unaware of them. Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of the main definition. I mean, I think as far as like social issues go, privilege is usually, it's usually the privilege of being treated as normal or default. It's not necessarily like getting bonuses or like, you know, things like that. just the idea of just being treated as the default rather than being assumed to be lesser from the beginning. Said something about the left's leniency on religion. I'd like to know what you meant by that. Well, I think religion is bad, and while I don't think that religion is like the main problem right now, I do think it's bad, and I think that it's sort of, the left has become very lenient towards religion, almost treating it as another sort of another like valid identity is like being religious, especially religions that are made up of mostly non-white people. Like I think like the religious right in America, I think people go in on them, but I don't think, it seems like the left doesn't really have a problem with religion as a whole. Like they seem to think that it's okay to be religious, and I guess it's okay to be religious, but I don't think that religion is okay. But someone was just asking me my personal issues with the left. I don't want to speak for anyone else. I think probably the biggest example is Islam, and I understand that Muslims go through a lot of shit, and Muslims are disenfranchised, marginalized, and attacked all the time. And I think because of that, people have sort of like translated that into sort of accepting Islam as a religion, but Islam is just as bad as any other religion, in my opinion. I mean, I just like stand-up, any kind of stand-up can be good. It just depends on the person, whether or not they're good at stand-up. And I don't really know what is considered feminist stand-up. Like, you know, stand-up that talks about feminist theory, like, is that a thing? Stand-up that's pro-women? I mean, there's a lot. Like, is Sarah Silverman is feminist stand-up? She's pretty pro-women. She's pretty liberal. I also think that, I mean, this is kind of just a guess, but I also think that a lot of people who became more and more left, especially if they're atheists, are the people that sort of came up listening to Richard Dawkins, Sam Harris, Chris Hitchens, stuff like that. And eventually we kind of all realized that those dudes were like not that great, and they're kind of shitty in many ways. And I think the association, we kind of associate atheism with them, and that has sort of made us be more sympathetic to religion, because it's like, well, I don't want to really be on the side of these assholes. But I think that a lot of people forgot. It's like, yeah, even though these dudes are not great, religion is also not great. Do I think Trump should be assassins? What does that mean? But I have to admit, I'm not, like I said, I don't think religion is like my number one priority, like it used to be, and like it is for some people. Um, but I mean, I am always happy to talk about my problems with religion. But if the idea is to buckle down and try to fix the world as soon as possible, I don't think that is the first thing we should focus on. But just because it isn't the first thing doesn't mean it isn't a problem. Hey man, I used to watch you all the time in high school, and it really helped me understand issues that I wouldn't have encountered otherwise. Thank you for helping to teach the world. I appreciate that, Elliot. Buy a hunting simulator for $5 on Steam. Is it called a hunting simulator? I want to get one of those. Oh, it's called Hunting Simulator. But yeah, I want to get one of those Buck Hunter arcade machines. That shit was tight. Can I do a John F. Kennedy impersonation? Isn't he just have like a really thick Boston accent? I can't really do it. It's called The Hunter. Oh, there's a game called Hunting Simulator also. Which issues would I prioritize? Attacking poverty and social justice issues. Finding the things that I have problems with in religion doesn't just exist in religion. Unfortunately, it seems more rooted in human psychology. I think that's true of many things. There are things that are, well, for one, that's true, but that I don't think that absolves religion. For example, you can kill someone in many ways, but that doesn't mean that we shouldn't have gun control. Just because guns aren't the only way that you can kill people doesn't mean that we shouldn't have gun control. But also, I think there are things that are fairly unique to religion, or at least like very closely associated with religion, that I also have a problem with. Like the concept of faith to begin with, I think is pretty harmful. Or the concept of a sort of the concept of sort of having access to like objective truth that cannot be contradicted or cannot be proven wrong. I think this is a very dangerous concept. I'm 100% in favor of taxing churches. I'm surprised we haven't done it yet, to be honest. Yeah, original sin. That's pretty. Is pretty wacky. But I do think that there are a lot, like, you know, if the religions we have right now didn't exist, people would probably find another way to express a lot of those same ideas and stuff. But I don't think that absolves religion of its issues. A lot of things in religion are wacky. I do think that people use their religion as an excuse to be shitty, and it isn't always the religion's fault in those cases. I will agree with that. Like, there are a lot of people who are just like super hateful or super homophobic, and they just kind of use their religion as a scapegoat, but really they just hate gay people. And I have no issues with religious people. But I just think that that religion is not great. But I think people are just trying to get through the day, trying to figure out how to live life and how to make it. And even if we might disagree on the ways to do that, that's fine. But a lot of, that's another problem with religion, is people sort of place their, and this is another thing that's not unique to religion, but people sort of place their whole personal identity into their religion. So they do take it personally when you criticize religion as a concept a lot of the time. But that's something that I try to stress all the time, and I think that's something that I'm at odds with a lot of people when it comes to politics, is just trying to remember that people are humans and people are complex, and we shouldn't ascribe sort of a moral I don't even know what I'm trying to say. I don't know. We just got to remember that people are complex, baby. Regardless of like what group they're in, what they believe, what their political affiliation is, everyone is complex. Some people suck, some people are terrible, but I think most people are just trying to figure out life and just trying to figure out the best way to get through life. And we can disagree about the best way to do that, but once we start treating people as like one-dimensional, like heroes or villains, that's when we get into issues. People are complex. Is his Dark Materials? I have not read that. Don't put people in a label-based box. Do you find that idea at odds with being adverse to labels? I don't understand how it is. It seems 100% consistent. Golden Compass. Okay. Yeah, I'm not the guy to talk to about books. I've not read too many of this stuff, especially fiction. I don't know anything about any of that stuff. I've been trying to finish the 3rd Harry Potter book for 4 years. I should read more though. I definitely should. I think I'm gonna just like set up a PO box and just like make people send me books, and then I'll read them. I just can't. I just don't do it myself. fighting manuals. I guess I'm gonna just stream for about 10 more minutes. I've run out of Diet Coke. I gotta go get some more. Should read Starship Troopers. I've seen the movie. I literally have a bookmark page where it's like a Twitter thread of people recommending books to me, but I just never really did anything about it. It's my rating in chess. My rating on chess.com, I like hover around like 950 to 1,000, somewhere in that area. So not very good, but I guess better than some people, but overall below average. But I'm working. I've been learning. I've been watching a lot of chess stuff. So my goal is to get better. My goal is to get like, I'd say, what's a reasonable goal? Maybe like 1,200 by the end of the year. That's a pretty good rating. Well, I'm glad you think so. I mean, I know there are people that are rated much lower. But I really feel like chess is a very like I feel like some games are just kind of overly complicated. And I know I'm talking about chess, and chess is very complicated. But I think that you can get to a high level of chess just through learning stuff. Like some games are like not very intuitive, but chess, I think, as long as you learn, you can sort of build on your concepts step by step. So it's like always a gradual improvement. Am I playing some game later? I'm not sure, maybe. Yeah, I don't know, I might play a couple games of League or something. Wish Chess 960 was more popular. I think astrology is just turning into a hip, trendy religion for millennials and Gen Z. What do you think? I've had a friend say it's harmless because it's not homophobic. Astrology is homophobic? I don't know about that aspect of it. Cisnormative? Well, I mean, a lot of astrology is not really about... Well, I mean, is it? I don't know. I don't really know the argument for it being cisnormative and homophobic. Yeah, I think it just depends on the person. I think that some people interact with astrology in a harmless way. They don't really, it's just kind of fun for them. You know, it's just kind of like a hobby. But I also think that some people take it way too seriously and actually like use it to make decisions and judge people. And I don't like that because I don't think it's real. In fact, I think it's like provably not real. But it just depends on the person, I guess. So I think it is kind of a religion for some people, but for others it's more of just like a hobby. And maybe you can say that about other religions as well, but I feel like it's less so for like legit religions. Yeah, well, you gotta play. Well, you can play against the computer if you're intimidated by playing against humans, but you really just have to play chess. You can't really get good at chess if you don't play. I mean, when you're trying to learn anything, especially something competitive, You just have to come to terms with the fact that you're probably going to get destroyed over and over again for a while. But then you're going to learn a few things, and then you're going to win a couple, and it's going to feel real good, and that's going to motivate you to keep doing it. But you just have to come to terms. Yeah, you're going to lose. It's fine. It's fine to lose. You can't be good at something without sucking at it first. But you can start out by playing a computer. That's one cool thing about chess, is you can play against the computer, and it is almost the same as playing against a human. It's not quite the same, but it's almost the same. And in fact, computers, the best computers, are much better than the best humans at this point. So you can become good at chess just by playing against computers. You don't even have to play against humans. But it's more fun to play against humans, or at least it's more satisfying to me to beat a human than to beat a computer, especially since you can make the computers so hard that they are unbeatable. Yeah, you should definitely do chess puzzles for sure. I mean, you have to if you want to get good at chess, but you should also play chess. Say that you should just practice chess puzzles and chess tactics. Like, that's, some people say that's all you should do when you first start playing chess. I don't really agree with that, at least in my experience. Not that I'm good, but I think you need to practice everything. Basically, you need to learn some opening concepts, and you need to learn some end game concepts, and you need to practice tactics and puzzles. But really, like, if you learn how to get out of the opening, and then you learn how to not hang your pieces, you'll win some games. Usually when I lose is because I accidentally blunder a piece, and it's like, fuck, I didn't see it. You gotta develop your chess vision. Make sure you don't accidentally lose your queen. En passant. En passant. Yeah, I always forget about that. It, like, people rarely do it though at my level, because no one remembers that you can do it. I feel like the first thing you have to learn in chess is just not to give up free pieces. And sometimes there's like tricks people can do to like make you think you're safe when you're not, but you have to learn those tricks. Like, you know, like the scholar's mate, like the 4-move checkmate. It's a tricky thing, but eventually you just learn what you're supposed to do to block it. And once you learn that, you will never lose to it again, ever. And it's great. And it's always cool when someone goes for it and you're like, nope, I know how to deal with this now. I have gotten checkmated by this too many times. Can't stand chess when there's no time limit on terms. Yeah, you shouldn't play chess like that. I mean, I guess if you're just playing with your friends or something in person. But yeah, there should always be a time control. I think that's part of chess, is the time. Like, I'm super bad at like fast chess, like, you know, like 2-minute, 3-minute, 5-minute chess. I need a little bit of time to think. Maybe one day I'll get better at it, but if I play fast chess, I'm gonna like blunder all my pieces. But yeah, I've been watching a lot of chess streamers. Like as someone mentioned earlier, chess is kind of blowing up on Twitch right now, which is hilarious and random, but I'm into it. Like I think probably the biggest chess streamer is Hikaru Nakamura, which is like a grandmaster chess player. Like he's maybe like top 10 or top 20 in the world at chess. And he's got like fucking, like he shows his subscriber count on his stream. He's got like 15,000 subscribers on Twitch, which is a lot. I don't know if you guys know how Twitch works, but that's a lot. I never played auto chess. I played a little bit of TFT, but I kind of stopped playing it. Even the like slow chess, like championship slow chess, there's still a time limit, but it's long. I think it's like 4 hours or something. So it's like the games will literally take all day, or sometimes they take more than one day to finish. Yeah, Hikaru's he's definitely a beast. Yeah, I don't know. I played a little bit of TFT and I was like, I don't know, I'd rather just play League of Legends. Yeah, he can definitely play blindfold chess. I mean, you can just tell when you watch him play. He just looks at a board and he can just instantly see everything on the board. Like he'll see, you know, like the grandmasters, they can see like 10 moves in advance and stuff, if not more. It's like, man, how do you even do that? What's my go-to league champ? I guess lately I've mained Ash. But I'm trying to, I play ADC and I'm trying to improve my champ pool. So I play like Ash and Jhin. And I can play Kaisa. I'm trying to learn Varus because he's like broken right now. And I'm trying to learn like Ziggs and maybe Syndra just to have an AP champion. Do I like Nintendo games? I do like Nintendo games. The only console I have right now is a Switch. I've been playing a little bit of Animal Crossing, although I haven't been playing it as much. And Smash Brothers is like the game that I'm the best at out of all games. Because I actually played that competitively, like literally competitively, like went to tournaments and stuff. So I actually got good at that game. Like the one game I actually got good at. Yeah, I think Hikaru is the best fast chess player in the world, like blitz chess. He's the best at that, and Magnus is the best at slow chess. Although Magnus is number 2 at fast chess. So he's good at both, but Hikaru's a little bit better at the fast chess. I played Super Mario Maker 2. I have not, but I love watching Mario Maker videos on YouTube. Yeah, Bard's really fun. You can like hard carry with Bard if you know what you're doing. Hikaru is so humble. Yeah, he seems really cool. I think I like him because he's older. Like I can't deal with a lot of these young kids on Twitch. And it's like, man, just calm down, shut up. But Hikaru's like, you know, he's like a wise, he's not old. I think he's like late 30s, but he's just kind of like this chill, wise dude that's really good at chess. But every now and then he drops like a humble brag, and I think he doesn't think people notice. Like he'll do something like, he was like, yeah, that happened when I was 10 years old, and I think I was rated 2200 when I was 10 years old or something. And then he'll like, it's like, I see what you're doing, Hikaru, you're flexing. I hate Kog'Maw. I need to play. I'm trying to learn Varus. I probably need to learn Tristana because she's like maybe the best all-in type ADC. Or he'll like be playing someone that's much lower rated than him, and he'll make like 18 pre-moves on the chessboard before, and just like sit back and let it play. But it's funny. I love it. Yeah, the form of checkmate. It's a trap. It's a trick. Like if you aren't used to seeing it, it's pretty easy to fall for because you don't. It doesn't look like they're going for the checkmate, but when you see it, pretty much when you're playing chess and someone brings their queen out early, you need to like pay attention because they're usually trying some kind of weird trap on you because you're not supposed to bring your queen out early. It's possible that that's how they play, but usually they're trying to trap you or checkmate you. Do you have a go-to open? I'm still learning openings. When I'm white, I usually just try to go for the Roy Lopez. I can't say that. But I really only know like the first like 5 moves of that. I'm not sure what you're supposed to do after. I have no idea what to do as black. I usually just kind of mirror the enemy as black and just try to follow basic principles. But there's some things that I want to learn. You were Batman and met the killer of your parents. Will you kill him or let him go? I don't think I could ever bring myself to kill anyone for any reason, so I don't think I would like just let him go though. I would probably try to turn them into the police or something. Apparently the Sicilian on black is like the best one, so I'm gonna try to learn that one. Where they push I guess it's E4 and then you push C4, I think that's what it is. And then there's more after it, but I don't know how it goes. I think I'm gonna go ahead and end the stream here though. It's been a pretty good stream. I wonder if because I streamed later, is that why more people were here? Because I think we peaked at around like 50 people, which is, it's usually a sign of a good stream. But anyway, thanks for dropping by. I'm trying to stream on Mondays. The time that I stream is kind of random, so we'll figure that out at some point, but that's kind of where we're at right now. I will try to be back at some point on Monday. Check out the description below the stream on YouTube. There's many links that you might be interested in. In particular, if you're interested in joining my Discord server, it's a very chill and welcoming community. So if you're interested in that, you can do that. There should be a link in the description, but you can just go to theonejanitor.com/discord. That's also probably the best way to interact with me personally, because I'm pretty active on my Discord, which I think that everyone should be. You can also email me if you want to like say hi or ask a question or anything like that. Also, if you want to support me or support the channel, there's many ways you can do that. You can check the description below. But that's about it. I will have a new video in like 3 days, maybe 3-4 days. So look out for that. There's a new video coming very soon. If you want to make sure you don't miss it, the best way to not miss it is to click the notification bell. I know the notification bell is kind of annoying sometimes, but YouTube is weird, and that's basically the only way that you can guarantee that you will know when videos come out. That'll also guarantee that you know when the next live stream is. So it's an option, but I understand a lot of people don't like the notification bell. I kind of don't like it. I only have it turned on for maybe like 5 people, 5 channels. And honestly, some of them I'm probably going to turn it off on. But yeah, I think that's it. Trying to think. All right, I don't know. If I think of anything else, I'll just tweet it out. But anyway, thanks for stopping by the stream. As always, I'll see you guys next week, and look out for the new video coming soon. Trent Smith, thank you for the $5. Thanks for streaming. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you all next week.